Multiple choice section A. Attempt any 10 questions. Question number 1, which one of the following security risks is associated with information systems? A, Trojans, B, worms, C, time bomb, and D, ransomware. So ransomware is associated with security risk management with information systems because it involves encryption of files or systems. It also involves demanding a ransom for their release. However, what is A, B, and C? A Trojan is simply it's a shortcut for Trojan horses. It's a malicious software that appears to be legitimate or harmless, but in reality, it contains malicious functionalities. So a Trojan is simply a malware. What is a worm? A worm is a self-replicating malware which is spread independently in the computer networks with the aim of disrupting, replicating, and spreading the virus. A time bomb is simply a type of malicious software or code which is set to activate or execute at a specific date and time. Then we go to ransomware. That's what we're talking about. It is a malicious software which is designed to block access to the computer system. For instance, in cryptocurrency, they use these ones to avoid hackers. So A, B, and C are not correct. What is associated with security risks is what? D, ransomware. 1.2, which one of the following sets represents models that are mainly used to calculate tools for various scenarios in spreadsheets? So we're looking at Excel. So which one of the following sets represents models that are used mainly to calculate tools for various scenarios in spreadsheet constructions? Input, parameters, output section A, input, result, parameters section B, result, input, parameter section, then finally D, parameters, input, and output section. So the answer is B, where we have the input, result, and parameter sections. These are the essential components that we use in Excel when we're constructing modeling scenarios. Give an example of a validation test. Give an example of validation test in the following statements below. Arithmetic tests to ensure totals within a record are correct. Sequence tests ensure to record that the records are correct in order. Format checks ensure that the record is stored in the correct file format. And range tests ensure that correct identification of validation tests. So the answer here is what? B. Sequence tests ensure that the records are in correct order. So sequence tests are an example of validation. To validate is to correct, to ensure that the records are in order. So validation is associated with sequencing. The arithmetic is not validation. This one is calculation part of it. Format checking is not validating. Range tests are not validating. So sequence are example of validation tests under Excel. Which one of the following sets classify the four main types of IT solutions to security concerns? Which one of the following sets of four classify the main types of solutions to security concerns? Recovery, backup, validation, and documentation. Validation, authorization, technical controls, and documentation. Backup, documentation, authorization, validation, authorization, documentation, backup, and recovery. So which one of the following technical controls. So the answer here is D. Authorization is technical control. Documentation is technical control. Backup and recovery. These are examples of technical controls. So section A is tricky that sometimes if you don't know, you cannot guess. What does the term justification mean in word processing? A, it refers to a text laid out on the screen. B, refers to text copied and pasted on the screen. C, it refers to how the text is edited on the screen. And D, it refers to how the spelling mistakes are detected on the screen. So to justify is A, it refers to how the text is laid out on the screen. So justification basically looks at alignment. You can align to the left, you can center it, or to the right. So when you justify, just looks at how you are aligning on the screen. Question 6. Why is an appendix placed at the back of a report? Number 1, to show where the reference can be found. B, to show the relative size of the information. C, to assist readers not to be distracted with high volumes of technical information from the main body. And D, to show the relationship of the information in the body and which is placed at the back of the report. So the answer is C. This question has been recurring in many papers. To assist readers not to be distracted by high volumes of what? Information. What is the other name used for communication that is not official? Try this one. A, grapevine. B, formal communication. C, unofficial communication. And D, social communication. Which one is unofficial? We looked at this as well. What's the answer?
It's grapevine.
Grapevine, correct. So grapevine is a term that is commonly used to unofficial or informal communication channels. A, correct. Which of the following provides reference of the records of discussions and actions that points to the agreed discussions by participants in a meeting? Try this one as well. A, notice. B, agenda. C, report. And D, minutes.
I need to read the question again.
Which one of the following provides a reference of the records of the discussions and the actions that were agreed by the participants in a meeting? Is the notice, agenda, a report, or the minutes?
So minutes.
Yes, the minutes, correct. So minutes are a reference of what was being discussed by the participants. Which one of the following characteristics of written communication? Which one of the following is a characteristic of written communication? Number 1, it allows interaction. Number 2, a formal record of communication can be created. Number 3, it can have a high impact. Number 4, it requires little preparation time. So which one of the following is a characteristic of written information? The answer is
Formal record of just created.
can be created, yes. So B. What is the difference between a memo and a business letter? What is the difference between a memo and a business letter? A letter is used for internal communication, while a memo is used for external communication. B, a letter is used for mass communication, while a memo is used for external communication. C, a letter is used for external communication, while a memo is used for both internal and external. And finally, a letter is used for both external and internal, or a memo is used for internal communication only. Which one is correct? D, yes. A memo is only for internal communication, while a letter can be for both. The answer is D.
A what?
A memo is only used for internal communication, or a letter can be used for both internal and external. So letters that can use them for both external, whereas memos are typically for internal use. Right. Question number 2 is Excel. and Excel here was compulsory. It's dangerous when it becomes compulsory. So as a qualified accountant, one needs to be proficient with application packages like Microsoft Office. So a newly recruited accountant had a shining investment star. One of the duties is to prepare a payroll spreadsheet using the data that you have been given, explain the differences between a spreadsheet and word processing software. What is the difference between a spreadsheet and a word processing software? So spreadsheet is a rectangular array of cells arranged into rows and columns. Spreadsheet is primarily used for calculating, analyzing, manipulating numeric data. A spreadsheet has functions and formulas that are integrated for numerical calculations. And finally, a spreadsheet is suitable for tasks such as budgeting, financial analysis, and what? Data tracking. Word processing software, on the other hand, is used for creating, editing, printing textual documents such as memos and letters. A word processing focuses on text formatting, fonts, page layout, and is ideal for tasks for creating contextual content. Part B, we've been given a table like this, where we're given customer name, J. Mulima, S. Salim, L. Stali, MP, and basic pay, housing allowance, transport. How do we get the gross pay? We get the NAPS amount, get the ZRA. NAPS rate is 5%, ZRA is at 25%. So this is what Ms. Mbe was teaching you all along. So now let's calculate how to get the gross pay by adding all these three. All right. So in this cell, try how do we get the figure here for this cell? Is A3, no, B3 plus what?
Plus C3,
Plus.
D3
Then here, what do you press afterwards?
equals
Equals, correct. Then here, for S Salimo,
has to be first SLM A4,
no,
B4 plus C4 plus C4 equals, then the answer will show up.
Good. Even lastly, for Piri and study, B5, C5, D5 equals. Then A6, B6, no, B6, C6, and D6 then equals. So that's how we get these figures here, right?
Mm.
Okay. Then how do we get the NAPSA? Okay.
It's 5%.
Yes, or what? The answer we're getting here, the amount. So, or what formula you put? 0.05 or 5% times E3. Then this one, 25.
0.05 what?
And these are the percentage of the total amount here. So to find column F, it is 5% times E3. That's for NAPS. And this one, 25% times E3. Then
Wait, repeat. At 5% times what?
okay,
We're
first of
calculating
all,
the number.
we go there. Let me get a case for Millima. Okay, IF is a statement when we're calculating. So in write if we have what? The total is there. Okay. Um, just a minute. So we try on the figures we're getting on Salim. So B3 plus C3 plus E3 and the sum. So this is what we got when we're calculating the sums of each of them. Okay. So B3 plus C3 plus D3 and equals. We did that. All right. Then for then we can get E3 and E4, you just drag it down, or what you're just mentioning it. Okay. You get the sums there. Now, the last part that we're being asked for is to calculate in this column here. So the question here says, write the formula to get the gross pay, the gross pay. So the gross pay that calculated was what? B3, C3, and D3. That's the amount there. And then you add now the gross pay. This is for each individual, all right? The gross pay. Then the next amount is NAPSA is calculated on the gross pay using the absolute frequency. Write the formula you would use to calculate the NAPSA and the direct amount for each customer. So for each customer, how do we calculate the? So here we're going to say E3, that is from Lima, times B so here Mulima so how do you find the NAPSA amount? So using the figures here, right? So what to use this to calculate. What column is it? What column is this? The 5%?
It's in C.
So I want to calculate from Mulima. Okay. Mulima, we are going to use this amount here. So E3. We're going to multiply this one by what? For NAPSA, the 5%. So in Excel, we never use times. We're going to use a star, all right? So with the star there. So far, are we together? Because we're supposed to use the gross amount. So 3 times the star. What column is this?
B.
It's B what?
B8.
Yes, B8, yes. But since we're using the percentages, so B8, so we're going to put like a dollar sign there, right? Okay, since the percentage. So B8. So how are we going to write the B8? So B8. This here. Then 8.
The dollar sign is used as what?
We're trying to get the percentage of it. So it's simply E3 times B8 in short. If the examiners will get this as it is, it's okay. But you can add this dollar sign here to show that you want to get it in percentage. Otherwise, it is E3 times what? Times, which we use a star, and it's B8. This is for which individual? J Mulima, right? J Mulima. What are we calculating here? The NAPSA. NAPSA. It's carrying a lot of marks, so you need to be careful. Okay. So before, if you're doing in percentages before the 8, you can use this sign, which is a sigma, or the dollar sign for layman. Now tell me, how do we get the NAPSA for S Salimu?
Yes, has to be E4
Mm-hmm.
times
Mm-hmm.
E4 times B8.
Times B8, that's B8, correct. Okay. So just before B8, you could put this dollar sign if you want, all right? This dollar sign here, and automatically. So E4 times B8, then study as well, E5 times B8, period, E6 times B8. This is, we are multiplying. Are we together? Is that clear?
Okay, take me back to take me back to the board.
So Salimu, D4 times B8. Then study D5, B8. And finally, period, E6 and B8. So that is for NAPSA.
Just help me write down. Help me write down the gross pay for J Mulima. Just want to see.
The gross pay where for?
J Mulima.
For J Mulima, the first one is E3 times B8. That's a gross pay. Then for Salimu, E4, B8. Okay, each
What
consecutive.
about it?
Pardon?
Starting from 3. Mulima, Salimu, Sali is
All the same, you're just using these figures here. All right. For Mulima,
okay.
it's E3 times B8. Salimu, it's E4 times B8. Stal is E5 times B8. And E6 times B8. All of them are just multiplying by
So
B.
there's no need to put equal signs. Equal signs.
Do we need to put equal signs? Then they just ask for the formula. All right. Just leave it like this. All right. You put equals. All right. My equals. I'm just asking for the spreadsheet formula. Okay. So can we proceed to the next one?
Yeah.
So we are told that ZRA is calculated on the gross pay if the gross pay is less than 1,300, then no ZRA is paid. Otherwise, any amount more than 3,300, you pay 25%. So you need to write a function that will compare ZRA amount and calculate it where it is applicable. So this is only applicable if it is more than what? More than 3,300. So now this one is a little bit complicated. That's why it has more 8 marks. So ideally, you're supposed to calculate what? 25% of the gross pay. Okay. Without that condition, you're simply supposed to say what? You're simply supposed to say that A is supposed to be E3 times B9. E4 times B9 directly, but there's a condition there that the amount must be more than what? 3,300. So if there's a condition, this is what you type in the condition. You say if E3 is less than 3,300, then you put a comma there. Don't charge 0. Okay. Then E3 minus 3,300, you multiply by B9. All right. In short, if you get a negative here, you don't charge anything. That's what this instruction is saying. This is 8 marks. Listen carefully. The condition is that the amount must be more than what? 3,300. So you start from Mulima. You write if open brackets E3 less or equal to 3,300, comma. Then you put a 0 in there. Then here you're going to subtract E3 minus 3,300 multiplied by B9. Similarly, for Salim, it's E4, which is a gross pay, less or equal to 3,300, comma. You put 0 in brackets. Then you put E4 minus 3,300 B9. So for this one, just memorize the format because there's a condition. This one is tough. Most students usually fail to get this. That is a condition that it will only apply. This means if the amount that you're going to get here is less than 2,300, don't charge any tax. It is zero tax. However, if you get more than 3,300, for instance, here there's 4,000. So 4,000 minus 3,300 gets 700. You multiply by B9, which is 25%, to give you the answer. But here, if we found, for instance, 3,000, so 3,000 minus 3,300 is negative 300.
That's so simple, no?
So this one, I don't want it to strain you a lot. So just leave it as it is. At this moment, it's the toughest. All right.
Mm.
All right. Let's go to another question. Question number 3. Is the bloodline of every organization. Information is the bloodline of every organization. It is used for key management functions like planning, decision-making, organizing, controlling. For such functions to be
I'm
performed.
not saying the question.
Question number 3. Sorry. Information is a bloodline for every organization. It is used for key management functions like planning, decision-making, organizing, controlling. For such functions to be performed efficiently, good information is needed. So storage of information has moved away from the traditional file-based systems to a database, which is believed to be more advantageous compared to a file-based system. And list any 5 good qualities of information. What are the 5 good qualities of information? So information
Has to be factor.
must be 1,
Factor.
2,
Reliable.
3,
Accurate.
4.
Um, what else? Help me out with that remaining.
It must be accurate.
Accurate.
You should remember accurate. Spell accurate.
Double C.
Mm-hmm.
U
Mm-hmm.
R A T E.
Mm-hmm. So these are the characteristics of good quality information. A stands for what?
Oh,
Accurate.
accurate.
Mm-hmm. C stands for what?
Complete.
Good, complete,
Correct.
and cost effective. U, understandable. R, relevant. A, accessible. T, timely. And E, easy to use. Can you take me through? A for what?
Accuracy.
C
Is it cost effective?
and Complete.
Let's remember the other complete.
Now you. Understandable.
Okay.
Ara.
Relevant.
Relevant, correct. A. Accessible.
Accessible.
T.
Timely.
And E. Easy to.
Easy to use.
So by being accurate, that's the precise information which is needed. All right. By being complete, it means it must what? Contain all information. By being cost effective, it should be more than benefit. By being understandable, it must be easy to comprehend. By being relevant, it must be necessary information. By being accessible, it should be easy and readily available. By being timely, it should be there when it's needed. By being easy to use, it shouldn't be complicated. So information must be what? Accurate. Are we together? So those are the 5 qualities, 10 marks. Part B, categorize the following types of memory into volatile and non-volatile. Okay. So a cache is volatile, a micro um a micro SD is non-volatile. Okay. Mhm. But what does it mean to be volatile
The volatile.
and non-volatile? What does it mean to be volatile and non-volatile? So yes, other questions were asked, you need to understand the two, and I'll give you other examples that relate to volatile and non-volatile if we're not given those other two. So to be volatile simply means to have a temporal storage, temporal memory. Okay, so to be volatile means temporal storage that loses its content when power turns off. Typically, it's used for fast data access during execution. Non-volatile, it retains its content even when power goes out. So, lava sana guys, we say you're what? Volatile. It means even without power, you're still able to remember for long-term benefits. So now, which of these ones are volatile and non-volatile? So I'll give you other examples of what a cache is what? A cache is volatile because it's frequent or quick retrieval by the system faster, but it's more size. Microchip, micro SD, like a flash, it's what? Non-volatile. You can keep information for a long time, like in a camera, in a smartphone. A RAM is volatile because you can be using one computer to another computer. It loses. A RAM is volatile because once you switch off, all the data that is there is lost. Okay, we have a ROM, which is non-volatile. A ROM stores permanent data. In fact, the manufacturers usually put information for the original computer in a ROM. Okay, and give you other examples.
Yes.
Other examples. Okay, so we'll talk about a RAM and a ROM. Other examples can I give a flash, a memory, and a register. A flash is what? Volatile. Is non-volatile, right? Because it can keep information, whereas registers are what? Volatile. Flash memory is non-volatile. It can keep information, movies for a long time. Uh, Registers, these ones are volatile. They are fast storing locations in the CPU. Okay. What are the examples? A hard disk and a CD-ROM. A hard disk and a CD-ROM. So what can we classify them? A hard disk is what? Non-volatile. That's a big thing that you keep from the computer. Then the CD-ROM, where you put the CDs, it's just used for CDs there and then read only after you remove the power. That one then a hard disk is non-volatile. You can keep a CD-ROM. Those CDs, they keep data for a long time. Those ones are also non-volatile. Okay, a DDR and a magnetic tape. So magnetic tape, those tapes that we had a long time ago, those ones are non-volatile. And as SDDR is volatile. So these are just examples in case an examiner brings some other types. At least you know what it means to be volatile and non-volatile. Is that clear? Are we on the same? All right. So lava sana. Yeah, what? Volatile. If you're able to keep. So this is. So which one is volatile and which one is non-volatile again? Of these two, which one is volatile and which one is non-volatile?
The cache, the cache or cache is volatile.
Volatile,
The micro SD is non-volatile.
good, non-volatile. All right. What are the 4 advantages of using a database? What are the 4 advantages of using database? So database advantages are that there's less duplication because it controls what? It controls the data that is being stored. Data integrity, the data collected in one central place. Updating all data is current, at least it's updated once. Then also improved data access, you control access, the security. Then data here can be used by different people, same application. So that's the advantage of database. All right. All right. Can we move to the next question? Question number. So I talked about accurate, complete, cost effectiveness. We did all this. I just explained them in a further way. Okay. So I can read that at your own time. We go to question number what? 4.
I don't have time.
Not have what? Time.
I don't have time. I don't time.
Okay, yeah.
Just repeat for me the questions, the previous question, the previous answers.
The previous answers, the database.
Mm-hmm.
The advantages of database. Database has following advantages. There's less duplication. So when you store data in a place, it helps in reduce the size by minimizing what? Copies. So sometimes when you want to put something in a folder, and it's the same thing to ask you, do you want to repeat what is already there? Because it already knows that you already have something in there. So it lessens that duplication. Number 2, it has data integrity, meaning data integrity is maintained as information is being collected and stored centrally. It reduces chances of discrepancies. Okay. Then updating and database management system also. Once the data is updated once, it ensures that there are changes. If there are changes that are there, it will notify you. For instance, an iPhone will always ask you update, update. So database system will update when update aspects. Improve access to data. So question, it it controls the access to data, security, and ensures that you have only appropriate users that are using that information.